What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Mullins Muster Podcast, where we talk about all things leadership and we talk about it with industry leading experts. As always, if we're adding value to you, your life, your family, your organizations, please let us know. Do us a favor, leave a rating and review wherever you listen to the podcast. If you'd like to watch the podcast, you can do so on the Humble Leader Development YouTube page. This episode is brought to you by the fine people at Humble Leader Development. Humble Leader Development is a leadership organization that strives to make people and organizations better through speaking, training, and consultation. If you want to find out more about Humble Leader Development, check them out at humbleleaderdevelopment.com. What's up, everybody? Hey, Happy New Year to you. We're off and running into 2023. I hope 2022 ended well for you and that 2023 is getting off to a fantastic start. I know I'm super excited about the year. We got a lot coming up within the organization. I got a lot going on personally, and I'm excited about the change. I'm excited about where it's going. I'm excited about what we're going to bring to you over the course of the next year within this podcast. And so I thought I'd start this year with a talk I recently gave to my organization. And so I came into this organization a little over 3 years ago, and I knew quite a bit about it before I came into it, and knew coming in that there were some things that we were going to have to focus on if we wanted to get better. And so I decided to lay those things out when I first got there. And as any good leader does, you are in a constant mode of self-evaluation. You're in a constant mode of self-evaluation. And so I'm evaluating these focus areas as we're going through the last several years. And I went and I sat down several months ago and I said, you know what, let's really take a good hard look at these areas that I want to focus in and see if we've accomplished them and if I need to shift and we need to start focusing on something else. And so I sat down, had that evaluation, and I was like, you know what, it's time to make the change. It is time to make the change. We are doing these things that I said we needed to, and we're doing them well, and therefore we need to shift focus because there's some other areas that we may need to pick up on. And so I thought I'd share some of that because there's a lesson learned in the reflection piece, and there's some lessons that could be learned from this. So I started out the conversation with having a talk about our vision and our mission. Any good leader needs to make sure that they are constantly expressing the organization's vision and mission for all that they do as an organization. And you need to say it over and over and over and over again. In all honesty, you're going to get sick and tired of saying it. And you're going to think that you've said it so much that it has sunk in their heads and they totally understand. But the reality of it is they don't. They do not. Another reason that you want to communicate it over and over and over again, as I really stopped to think about it, and think about what it means to communicate, kind of think of communicating that vision and mission like doing the laundry. We've all been there where we've had a pile of laundry. We've had laundry stacked up for days. We just spend one day and we catch up on all the laundry, okay? Everything gets washed, dried, folded, hung up, put in its proper place. Man, you feel outstanding when that is done. You're like, yes, I have accomplished something here today. It's that same feeling you get when, as a leader of an organization, when you stand in front of your people and you communicate your vision and mission. When you're done, you think, man, this is awesome. We're doing fantastic. We're going to leave here. We're walking out on cloud nine. But the reality of it is, just like with the laundry, you may finish it, everything's done and put up, hung up, it's good to go. Within a matter of hours, there's dirty clothes in the hamper. And you got to start all over again. It's the same way when it comes to communication. Within a matter of hours of you communicating that vision, odds are people have forgotten about it, because they've moved on and they've started focusing on their particular job and what they need to do. And so it's super important that we communicate that vision and mission over and over and over again. And oftentimes when we talk vision and mission, those two terms get used interchangeably, but they are two very distinct things. Vision is the big picture, where I want to go long term. The mission is how we're going to execute here and now and get that done. So I made sure that I covered our vision statement, our mission statement, and that they understood where we wanted to go as an organization in the future. So I led with that, and then we moved into the focus areas, and I thought I would review with them the focus areas that I'd had over the last 3 years. And 3 years seems like a long time, but sometimes it takes a while to get things back where they need to be. And so this is just the process and the journey that we took and the journey we got there, getting the buy-in and getting people back on board. These focus areas went out in every email that I sent. They were in my signature block. I talked about them quite regularly. Anytime I stood up in front of the organization, we had those conversations. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to review and I'm going to give them a new way forward. So I did a review and said, hey, my old focus areas, number one is that we need to take care of each other. We have to be there for one another. We can't just be there for one another in the workplace. We have to understand what our people are going through at home as well. There's a lot of life going on within your organization. Some people have loved ones that are dying. Some people have loved ones that have cancer. Some people just lost loved ones. There's a lot of excitement too. People are having children. Kids are playing sports and they're winning championships. And there's just a lot of family dynamics. And everybody has stuff that's going on. And so we need to make sure that we are taking care of one another. Some people have some financial burdens and things like that. And so truly getting to know your people and understanding what makes them tick makes you a better leader, and it makes the organization better because they know you care. John Maxwell says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so we needed to get back to a place where we were caring for our people, because that was super important. We had to make sure that they knew that we were looking out for them and we had their best interest at heart. And in doing so, that's going to help drive them to help the organization and back you as a leader even more. The next focus area is, hey, we got to train hard, we train well. And so what we do within my organization, that requires a lot of different training aspects. And we're going to make sure that we do it not only hard, but well. And those are two different things. A lot of people think if you're training hard, that you're training well, but that's not the case. In all reality, what you're doing is you may be going out and going through the motions, and people may be tired when they're done with that, but they didn't have clearly defined learning objectives. They didn't have clearly defined essential tasks that they needed to meet and needed to get done. You kind of end up training to time and not to standard. And so what I mean by train hard, train well, is I wanted to make sure that we were training to standard, not necessarily time. And so we had to maximize on that. We have limited amount of time that we can get things done, but let's clearly define what standard we want to meet, and then we're going to drive our people there. And they've done that extremely well. Anytime we have a training iteration that needs to happen, it is now clearly defined exactly what needs to happen, how it needs to happen, and what standard folks need to meet in order to move on to the next training iteration. And they've been phenomenal along these lines. As within any organization, you got to have a little bit of fun. You can't be too rigid. You can't be too stiff. We've all been in organizations like that. You have to have fun. And when I say fun, I'm not saying you got to go out, and I'm not talking about the mandatory fun of, hey, it's Sarah's birthday and let's bring a birthday cake and everybody sing happy birthday, yay, Sarah. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is find ways to have some fun. Put your own flair on it. Each organization kind of has your own personality. Capitalize on that. Have some fun with that. As an example, I'm closely tied to the military and a lot of things that I do. One organization was having a ceremony. They had a bunch of bronze stars to hand out after a deployment. Some guys had done some phenomenal things while they were deployed. And some generals were going to be involved. They were just going to come and watch. They were not involved in the ceremony itself, but they were going to come and watch. As with any type of military ceremony along those lines, they come in and they play the national anthem, right? Please rise for the entry of the official party and the playing of our national anthem. And so all the high-ranking individuals come in, they play the national anthem. And it's the typical, no words, just sound national anthem that ends up being played. Well, this organization was like, no, we're going to put some of our own flair on it. We're going to make it ours. And so what did they do? They ended up playing the Jimi Hendrix guitar version of the national anthem. It took forever, but it was phenomenal. It was absolutely great. And everybody loved it. There were so many comments about how awesome that was because they deviated from the norm and had a little fun in the process. And they took it one step further, and when the official party exits, they normally play their service song as the official party exits the ceremony. Well, again, they put their own flair on it and left to the instrumental version of DMX's X Gonna Give It To You. It was, again, phenomenal. The amount of fun and laughter and stuff that I still hear about that ceremony even to this day, and that was several years ago. They had fun. They made sure they followed protocol-ish, but they put their own flair on it. And they had some fun with it. And that is what made it so great. You gotta have some fun. You can't take things too seriously. And then finally, we had to follow guidance from our higher headquarters. There are, things that come down from higher ups that we just had to follow. And if you're in a big organization, this holds true for you too. There are decisions that are made at the high CEO type levels, and that those decisions flow down, and you got to follow that guidance. And this is no different. So when I came into the organization, they were struggling a little bit in some of those areas, and so I said, hey, we need to make sure we focus on these and that we're doing the right thing. So what they do, man, they really started cracking down. They started following the guidance given to them. And we have been through audits, inspections, outside looks, anything and everything. And the organization just continues to thrive, and they're doing well. The reports are coming back with nothing but outstanding results. And over the course of the last year, they've just been put through the ringer where they feel like they've been given all types of different inspections, just one right after the other, just surprise inspections, long-term, they've known about them inspections. It seems like they just keep getting hit with one after the other, and everything's just coming together, and they're like, nope, you're following everything that you're supposed to be doing. And so it's been absolutely phenomenal to see that progression and see where they've come and where they're at today. But since we were accomplishing all these things and we've met all of these focus areas, I said, hey, let's keep that ball rolling, but we're going to shift gears a little bit, and we're going to transition over. When I talked about taking care of each other, that meant a lot of different things, and it was very broad. One of those things that we needed to do was recognize each other as well, and that was something that just wasn't happening. I felt like we were getting to know each other better on a personal level and really looking out for each other's needs. We were failing in the area of recognition, and that's a part of taking care of people too. I once heard a lady speak. She was talking about recognition, and I don't know how true it is. I do not know how true it is, but she said it, and she said that people would rather be recognized for a job well done than they would have sex. Like I said, I don't know how true that is, but it was what she said, and I think there's some credence to that, because people want to know that they're doing well at the job that they have. They don't come to work to fail. They come to work to succeed, and they want to know that they're doing well. And so we had to focus. We got to shift the area a little bit and focus on making sure we're recognizing our people. There's a formal process within our organization, much like yours. There's employees of the month, employees of the quarter, maybe employees of the year. And there's definitely a time and a place to do that and to show, yes, we are going to recognize our people in that formal manner, but we're also going to make sure we're informally recognizing people. We're going to recognize people for on the spot doing a great job. And we're going to make sure people around them know. If we're in a staff meeting from week to week, well, we're going to make sure that they know. We're going to, hey, I'm going to call out people, hey, who has done a great job this week. I'll just call out a random person and have them call out somebody else. I'll make sure that I'm recognizing someone for doing a great job, because that is what we have to do in order to recognize people. That builds their self-esteem, that builds confidence, that builds their need for wanting to continue to contribute to the organization. It's the power of recognition, and it's a very, very powerful thing. So I want our organization to shift focus onto that. We're going to set and maintain high standards. We had train hard, train well. We're going to set and maintain high standards. What does that look like? Within our job, we have evaluations we have to take. I, for example, am relatively high up within the organization, but I still have to take an evaluation. I recently was out taking an evaluation, and I had someone that is lower in the organization that had to give the evaluation. The evaluation is running, the scenario is going, it's running smooth. At least I thought so. Everything's clicking. I'm feeling good about the whole thing. We finish it up, we go to the debrief, and chest is out a little bit. I'm like, yeah, I feel good about this. I know this is going to be a knocked it out of the park debrief, done. And we start flowing through it, and he hits a point and he says, hey, what about X? Do you really think you should have done this at that moment in time? And I got to think about it. I was like, no, you're right. I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong in that moment. I didn't catch it in the moment. I didn't even think about it going into the debrief. But he made note of it, and he called me out on it. And he was 100% right, and I was wrong in that situation. He downgraded me. Oh, that hurt the soul. That hurt, because I've been doing this a long time. I don't make that kind of mistake. Come on, are you kidding me? But he was 100% right, and I was wrong. And so we ended up debriefing it out, and I gave him kudos. There was a standard to maintain, and he could have easily looked the other way just because I'm higher up in the organization than he was. But instead he said, no, you can't do that. We have a standard and you didn't meet it. So I'm going to downgrade you for that. And he was 100% right. And I applaud him for that. And so we have to do that on a consistent basis across the entire organization if we want to get to the vision that our organization wants to reach, which is why I led the discussion with our vision and mission statements. But how do we do that? We do that through accountability. Right? We're going to make sure that we hold people accountable in those areas, just like he did me. But we're not just going to do it at levels within training. We're going to do it in all areas. There's admin stuff we got to do as well. There's performance evaluations we got to do. There's all kinds of little, just small admin things that we have to do in order to make sure that we do our jobs properly at all levels. And so we're going to hold people accountable, because true professionals, and we're big on professionalism within our organization, true professionals don't go red in areas. They make sure they take care of the little things. They lead themselves well, lead themselves first very well before they lead others. And so we're going to start holding people accountable to that, saying, hey, you're not carrying your weight. Maybe even do a little team competition, whatever the case may be. But that's how we're going to get after this. We're going to hold people accountable. And that's going to make sure that the standards we set are high and they stay at a high place. And then finally, we can't stop having fun. You got to keep having fun. I mentioned it earlier with having fun. We're going to keep having fun. We recently had an event. We went out, did some great things training-wise. By the end of that event, one of our individuals, he decided he's going to take up tattoo. He's going to try to be a tattoo artist. And so he just started this venture. He's a great artist, but never done the tattooing thing before. And he's decided, hey, I'm going to start doing tattoos. And we were out doing an event. We were there for a little over a week. And by week's end, 8 different people had new tattoos. Who knew? I would not have expected to go out and leave there with a tattoo. I personally did not, but there were many guys that did, and everybody thought it was a great time. They're giving this guy reps. He's getting a little bit better with each tattoo, and everybody had a phenomenal time. Now, I'm not saying you got to go out and get group tattoos as an organization. That's not what I'm saying, but there are ways that you can have fun. Maybe between the hours of 8 and 11 every day, you've got some little flag. You divide people into teams, and you've got 2 different teams. It's like a capture the flag kind of thing, and you're just trying to sneak by kind of slick like and snatch a flag off somebody's desk. I don't know. But you can find ways to have fun. You can maybe play some pranks or some jokes on some folks, and just lighten up, ease some of that tension within the organization and see where that goes. And I think you'll notice people starting to come out of their shells more and more if they know that they can have a little bit of fun in the process. And that too will go a long way. And so those are just some of the things that I shared with the people within my organization a couple months ago as we shifted our focus areas. But again, it comes back to, as a leader, we're being in constant reflection. We're looking at what we're trying to accomplish and how we're getting there, what the people are doing as an organization to meet each and every one of those goals. And if we're meeting them, hey, where can we continue to improve? Where can we continue to get better? And that's what drove this conversation with my team. And so we were crushing it in those other areas, in those 4 areas that I mentioned of train hard, train well, have fun. And so we needed to shift, taking care of each other. And so we needed to shift. And so we shifted over to, hey, let's make sure we're recognizing people for doing a great job. Let's make sure we're setting and maintaining high standards. Let's hold people accountable, but let's keep having fun in the process, because what we do is serious. And if we can't have a little fun, laugh together, and enjoy one another's company, then we're really not having a healthy organization. So I hope this helps you guys. I hope this helps all that you do within your organization. If you have questions, feel free to reach out, humbleleaderdevelopment@gmail.com. You can catch me on the Humble Leader Development pages on Instagram, Facebook, and we're looking forward to having some of those conversations. So today's Bible verse comes from 2 Corinthians 5:17, and it says, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come." Hey, thanks for joining us today, guys. It was an absolute honor. Looking forward to next month. Have a great one. See you later.